What's going on, guys? Welcome back to Everyday Struggle. Nadeska Akademiks and Wayno here.
Beautiful Thursday. I'm not gonna lie to y'all.
Hey.
It's a good day today.
Yes, it is.
I'm looking forward for the weekend, but you know what? Another episode of Everyday Struggle, man.
What are you doing this weekend that's so important, by the way?
Y'all in LA.
Doing
I'm in
what?
LA. Illuminati beam. Gotta see what they're talking about. This is a sacrifice. I have to get in. I ain't know.
Academics, whatever.
It's so ridiculous. I ain't doing shit this weekend. I'm gonna be chilling.
You finally chilling?
Yeah, I'm finally chilling, man.
Wayno been on tour. Wayno's at All-Star Weekend.
Wayno's definitely on tour.
I'm surprised
the
Wayno wasn't
weekends.
in Miami for spring break.
What the fuck am I doing? You know how crazy I look
Wayno
at
doing
this?
correspondence on the beach like we have two ratchets. They're fighting. Oh my God, wigs and weaves. It's going crazy. I don't know. Wayno be all over the place. See,
I do be moving around, but I need to do some more silent work, so I'm gonna just chill this weekend. You know what I mean? Get on it.
Silent work. That sounds really sexy, Wayno.
Yes.
Silent work. All right,
Silent
you
work.
guys.
Feel me?
Sleeping. That's what we're going to do. We're going to sleep.
AKA count cash. Count cash on the couch. I feel you.
All right, guys, still an ultra super slow news week, so we got a lot of fan questions for you guys today. But first, we're actually going to reverse the show and start with some quick hits. So, during an interview with XXL, Scumbeats, who produced Blueface's Thotiana, says, Thotiana Part 2 is coming. He says it's going to be the same beat, different drum pattern, and he added a couple other sounds. Of course, there was no release date. Are we excited for Thotiana 2?
These niggas is wild. It's already 3 versions of it. Like, it's already 3.
She just keep going forever until
Blueface
the
on it
people
by
don't want
itself,
it.
Blueface and YG, and then Blueface with Cardi B without YG, and then the one with all 3 of them on it, right? But they're confirming more guests on there.
I just want to know, like, since this is a sequel, do we continue the story, the narrative that
It
we
sounds like
started?
the producer probably knows that's his only hit, and he's like part 2, 3, 4, and 5 coming. Shit's over. Like, you know, it's a hit. I mean, the remix is done well, but like, let's not one blood remix the shit. Like, we're good. We're good. And also, if I'm Blueface, yo, I got other songs. Like,
Right, exactly.
I don't want to make like so many remixes. Like, next thing Diddy gonna be on the remix. If Diddy's on a Thotiana remix, like, it's over at that
That's
point.
not far-fetched. I'm not gonna lie, because every now and then, Diddy will pop out on somebody's remix,
That's
even
true.
if it's ad-libs or something.
And
He
sometimes
always
he kills
pop
me.
out.
Well, most times.
I mean, yeah, absolutely. I mean, Diddy's guest verses. Remember, Oh, Let's Do It?
yeah.
I fuck my money. No, I got my money.
I
Yeah,
always
fucking
wonder
with
who,
the white folks.
I always wonder who ghostwrite that shit.
Don't worry if you write rhymes, you write checks.
I be wondering, I don't know. But seriously, yo, he has other songs. Blueface got other songs. This song Bleed It, doing
Any
well
songs
on
that you think
YouTube.
are gonna get like as big as Thotiana?
Yeah, Bleed It, but you see, it's not a chick anthem like that. You get me? I think probably if I'm Blueface or his team, we're trying to figure out what are we gonna try to promote. That funny, I call it comedic gangster rap, because he's saying some shit like pull out the mop stick and you're actually having a mop in your hand. It's funny, you know what I mean?
He
It's
comes
almost
out on
kinda like-
stage with a mop every night.
Yeah, it's kind of like parody, but like you do know there's real affiliations there. So I'm wondering if that's the direction, or you go to this guy's concert, like, listen, you would never allow your girlfriend or wife to go to this nigga's concert.
If I was
Shit that I'm saying.
Blueface, I would get the City Girls on the remix.
Ah, so you do want the sequel?
No, I'm saying if I was him, that's what I would do. I would have put the City Girls on. I mean, you already got Cardi, but like City Girls, Thotiana remix would be kind of.
Just call it that. I will say though, if there was gonna be a remix, put Chief Keef on it, man. The whole Thotiana movement has gone and kind of slipped over people's heads and not really given and paid credit to Chicago. I have never heard the word thought ever before Chicago.
Right.
So some of the individuals, the rappers, made it popular, and you know it's a common slang now. But I think maybe it won't be the most biggest commercial success story, but it would make.
All right, so you guys are saying no sequel, but clearly you have a lot of options for if there was a sequel, who
If
should
you're
be on
gonna
it?
sell the game
Cool.
method, but promote Bleed It. You got Dead Lows. You got some other titles that sound so wild. I don't want to say because I know what Wayne's gonna say.
Yeah, I'm cool.
You got a song
But
called Two Cocks. Like seriously. See,
it's just not so I don't want to say. Like, why do you do that every time?
Now, Wayne, I'm just
This
saying
nigga's-
these are facts. I'm not making it up.
Well, you could keep that
Were you
song to
threatened by that
yourself.
title?
I wasn't threatened by it.
How's
You
this
can
real
keep that
life?
title to yourself, man.
Oh man.
Sounds like a
And
song you like.
Studio also is a good song, melodic, but maybe the more chick anthems will be his next move. We'll see. Or drop a song with Drake. They got that.
What? Okay. They're just like saying things. All right.
There's a song.
Yeah, okay. All right. Dreamville Fest is coming up. So J. Cole hit Twitter this week to announce the lineup. Pretty stacked. Of course, there's going to be a lot of Dreamville there. But in addition, SZA, Nelly, Big Sean, 21 Savage, Black, Tiana Taylor. Plus we're going to get like the JIDs, Ari Lennox, the whole team. Sounds pretty dope, honestly. Wayno, are you going to be there because you're everywhere?
Black Excellence Fest. I mean,
Black Excellence Fest.
Doing correspondence here, bro?
Yo, I might go. Yo, you know what? I'm thinking about going. When I seen the lineup, I was like, yeah, I would. And where's it gonna be? It's gonna be in Fayetteville?
Yeah, I would imagine.
So, yeah.
My family's from, my family's from Fayetteville. That's where my family name comes from.
Fayetteville.
That's my whole father's side of family is from Fayetteville. But now I definitely will want to go to that shit. Like I definitely want to go to it. It looks like it's gonna be dope. And I think we got the GQ shit.
Raleigh,
Wait, hold on.
North Carolina.
What's the all right, we got the J. Cole dropped the single, all the Dreaming shit in the beginning of the year. GQ, Fayetteville Fest, Dreamville Fest.
Yeah.
Next is gonna be the Dreamers album. I think that's probably gonna be end of April, probably early May. The way that they rolling shit out.
When the project is coming out?
Yeah, it only makes sense. And JID got some shit too. I had a conversation with him at the Dreamville brunch. He said he got some shit.
Yeah, Earth Gang has music coming too.
Yeah, it was a Dreamville brunch, man.
Only Wayno got invited.
Oh shit.
At
No, that
All-Star
sounded
Weekend.
like fun.
They have food there or no?
Huh? You said did they have food? Yo,
I'm just trolling the commenters.
Honestly though, I'm gonna keep it 100.
I heard
issue.
notoriously that the Rock Nation brunch had no food.
No, listen.
Is that true?
I didn't go to the Rock Nation brunch, but at the Dreamville brunch, they was passing out hors d'oeuvres, but it was hard to get them. It's like you couldn't get shit.
You gotta stand right
Did
by
they
the
have
kitchen.
those Jesus sandals that J. Cole was wearing in those pictures that came out?
You said did he have those on?
Are those there?
I have no
You can
idea.
Pick up. Honestly, yo, you know what though? You know what's dope about this? And by the way, like honestly, I would like to go. I could tell it's gonna probably a lot more surprises than what's already announced, because just judging off the past of the event. But I will say, I remember a time in hip hop where like the only place that you could find like probably the dopest lineup was probably like a Summer Jam. These days, I don't know about Summer Jam, but these little festivals that all these artists, like whether it's
So Tyler has a big one.
Post Malone
Fest.
has a fest too now.
Pharrell has one coming up in Virginia in April as well.
And the lineups are always fucking dope. Like the lineups, when you see it, is kind of like a list of who's and like kind of you would want to see all of those people.
I think that's really dope though, because they can control it. It's like, when you look at all of these larger festivals, they have to reach out to booking agents and all that. Who's not gonna want to pull up the Dream?
J. Cole just calls you like, hey,
I need
we're
you on
doing this
Dreamville
festival.
Fest.
It actually makes sense. It's good that it's blossoming right now.
What's dope is that it's gonna bring like a lot of business to North Carolina that weekend. A lot of people gonna be throwing after parties or different merch they're gonna be selling. It's gonna be dope. I'm gonna try to get there.
You know what's hard about this show? Since we got to get here at 6:30 in the morning, like it's hard whenever you have like weekend events, because we got to like try to make it back to the city Sunday night, because if something happens with your flight Monday morning, it's actually really whack. Hey, we're going on break in a couple weeks. I'm excited. We could be more social.
Listen, that's why you gotta activate your little private jet thing that you got.
He always come with some next
Always
shit.
with the
Yo,
bullshit
Nadeska
storylines.
got like a little timeshare on a private jet. I'm spilling the beans today.
What?
I'm sorry.
You could timeshare in a private jet?
All these niggas do it. What?
Nah, I believe they do got something like that.
Yeah, you can even rent this. You could like buy your.
Oh, I
seat.
heard there's like Uber helicopter.
Nah, they do. They got somewhat like a private jet too. Because
Hey guys, that's it. I take the train. I just refilled my Metro card. I did.
private jets used to be like $40,000 a pop. Niggas do not
They see
have
me on
40
the
minutes
train
to be
while we're
spending.
Tell
live.
the
People talk
truth.
to me on the train all the time.
You gotta do what rappers do. Fake it till you make it.
Nah, fuck that bullshit. I'm just me. I take the train. Normal.
So you'll never
person.
take a jet, is what you're saying?
If someone pays for the jet, cool.
I
All right,
get
I'll
that.
just continue to rich rumors about Wayno then.
Don't start
Fine.
that. Don't start
Sorry,
that.
y'all. We're just overtired and like really delirious today. I'll be honest with you. Sorry. So unprofessional. All right, let's see. I think one more quick hit. So Travis Scott just doing amazing things. So according to sources close to TMZ, his February 8th Astroworld concert at the Forum sold out. So over 16,000 tickets, $1.7 million made. So he's just become one of a handful of artists to repeat sellout shows at the Forum in a 12-month period. He's joining people like Lady Gaga and Sting. When you're up there with Sting, you know you're like really doing great. So shout out to Travis.
Yeah, he's on a whole nother level right now. He's on a whole nother level.
This is a testament to actually his performance skill. Like, like people have said from back in the rodeo times and all that shit, like do the average. It's $100 per ticket. That's pretty pricey. A lot of these niggas, when they do events, average ticket price is between 20 and 50. Again, rap fans and a lot of times just hip hop fans in general, they're not trying to overspend unless it's Beyonce, okay? Charge $1 million.
Beyonce.
Yeah, they gonna pay.
But like to see that, it shows that people value his performance and value his live show to the point that, you know, like people have sold out that venue before. The reason why he broke the record is because of the prices and people actually paid for it.
Yeah.
So all that shit when people were talking about, is this just because he was selling merch? Clearly, when he's putting shit on sale, people are coming out. So congratulations to him.
Yeah, man, he's racking up the wins. I ain't gonna front. Like, he's definitely racking up the wins. And remember what we were saying about, like, him dropping another album, how we could do with that, like, maybe next year.
Yeah.
Because we're still getting a live experience off of Astro World. So it just shows you how, like, you could stretch out your shit. Like, you don't have to necessarily put something out and then jump right into doing something else. I mean, he's stretching out this show run, how, I say, like, kind of like a Nipsey, what he did with Victory Lap, how he kept dropping continuous videos, etc. We haven't gotten a ton of videos, but we keep seeing that he's breaking records with merchandise, all this other stuff. He has more Jordans coming out.
This tour been going on forever.
Have you
it's been
seen
going
it?
for
I
a
haven't
minute.
seen this one yet, but I saw the rodeo tour. That was legendary.
But anyway, are we giving credit to maybe Stormy and Kylie for tweeting us out? I'm just trying to see.
Go
Man,
ahead,
he's
give
trying to
them
start the
credit.
bullshit.
Give them credit, Akademiks.
Thursday, man. What's up? All right. Anyway.
All right.
Don't start the bullshit.
All right. Fan question time. So this first one is from Lord of Dice 718. This is some real New York shit right here.
That's definitely a fucking New York
What
name.
a great name.
Lord of Dice 718. What's good, my nigga? Yeah.
Is the sophomore slump a real thing? And if so, what's the best way for an artist to avoid the slump when they're in the process of recording their second album?
I think that the sophomore slump, the idea is a real thing, and a lot of artists, when they put out their first album, if they have like a lot of success, again, some people get lazy. They get lazy. They don't challenge themselves as much. You know, when your bills is on auto pay, you're not thinking about that hunger's not there like it used to be. So I think the sophomore slump is a real thing. But in order for you to beat that, you just got to be all about your music more than anything. Like, you have to fully be all about your music. When we look at Kendrick, Good Kid, Mad City was the official debut to Pimp a Butterfly. They went left, but they were really into the music. It wasn't about, all right, we got more bread now, we gonna just talk about that, which was never Kendrick's narrative. But I think the only way to beat it is to stay true to the music. You know?
Definitely a true thing. You know, a lot of times by the time we get to a official debut, because, you know, people still do the mixtapes thing, and like they throw out a couple songs. Like, again, you work on that project for like pretty much most of your life, right? And you get the best music. Then now you're on a schedule. Now we want you to drop yearly. Now we want you to drop within this time period. Now you start juggling things that you didn't have to juggle. You got to go on tour.
Right.
You have to be doing press. You have to multitask in ways and still find some way to be inspired creatively. Or you're working under a deadline as well. So, I mean, that's number one. And also sometimes on your first record, if you even come back really quick with a second album, which is Sophomore Joint, like, you have a big ass song, and people now looking at it like, bro, create that shit again or bigger.
Right.
And if you can't do that again, now we looking at it like, what do we like? Are you really the guy who we thought?
That's why it makes sense. Like, artists as big as like Travis, like they'll do the Hawaii thing, or whatever Kanye, whatever mountain he escapes to, just so you can block out the industry and all the distractions, so you can be creative again. It makes a lot of sense when you think about it.
And a lot of big artists have been hit with this. I mean, like Jay's second album wasn't received well as the first one. Like, and it made people. He bounced back on the third one, but on the first one was way better than the second. Then I say, damn, who else could I think of that had a second joint that wasn't really up to par? I know, well, by the time Lupe got to his third, you know what I mean? Bryson Tiller's another guy, like, you know what I mean? He took a dip. Like, nobody talks about that second album. It's almost like it doesn't exist.
Well, you know what? Sometimes I do battle with trying to identify what really is the sophomore slump. Because I like Bryson Tiller's second album. I actually like it. One of the few people who did like it.
Okay.
It got a lot of criticism online. And
You think some of it is just like on the fans' part? Like, we're always just comparing it to the body of work you had your whole life to make?
Yeah.
And that's unfair a bit. I think that's a little bit unfair, only because it's like, you know, you can't recapture the exact moment.
And you can't help but compare it to their first project. We're humans. We cannot help it, and immediately that sets you up for the slump conversation.
So exactly. So like sometimes I look at it, I'm like, yo, is it because the project really ain't up to par, or maybe just fans are receiving it mad different. And in that case, or they're looking at sales like, oh, this ain't doing as well. You know what I mean? Because
No, that's just you.
like Bryson got so much flack for that album, I just didn't think it was that bad. And of course, he's not a person who's too visible ever. So, you know, like it kind of just went down as an L.
Yeah. I think that the thing about whenever you're going from project to project, you have to just figure out how you're going to change. You know, like you can stay the same, but you have to figure out like what's going on in your life. People don't want to hear you continuously talk about the same shit.
Right.
Like, when you look at a person like Meek, everybody holds him to, oh, all this nigga talked about was rollies and Wraiths and fucking Bentleys, and nobody wants to hear that anymore. And then after the Drake beef, right? Like after the Drake beef, of course he still talks about cars and all that, but he started to add a little bit more stuff about like what he went through in the streets on a more personal level, not just like being clever rapping about it, you know?
That's true. That must be hard for an artist. It was the same with Frank Ocean. Channel Orange was such a great album. I think that when he dropped Blonde, a lot of fans, sorry, I know you don't care about this example, but
No. I ain't like that Channel Orange.
you did it.
You didn't like Channel Orange?
Yo, hell no. You know
what
why?
was the name of the
Yo,
Nostalgia
Ultra.
Nostalgia
Ultra
Ultra
was so
crazy.
fire. This nigga came with some other shit. I'm like, this shit whack.
Yeah, but see, that's
Nah,
the
that shit
thing.
was
Like,
good.
all of those projects are amazing. And when Blonde came out, people were like, no, compared to Nostalgia Ultra and Channel Orange, this is not good. And I feel like I was one of those people. I didn't say that out loud. I never say that out loud. That's why I give the project at least a month. But when I listen, Blonde is next level. I like it just as much as I like Channel Orange and Nostalgia Ultra now.
But you know, also like when I think
What
of
songs?
The whole thing. The
whole thing?
entire project is amazing.
when I think about like just changing, I look at like Tyler the Creator, how he's always been able to change and evolve with each album on the production side, on how he presents it. The only one that I could say was the most, well, kind of the more questionable one in his catalog is probably like Cherry Bomb. Like Cherry Bomb, because he went back to the distortion shit, but it was like very, very loud. A lot of people, if you're not a hardcore Tyler fan, you're not gonna understand that. But after he did, what is it? Is it Wolf? I think it was Wolf. And then Flower Boy, like he jumped right back in the way he was before, but he keeps evolving. Even with Kendrick. Kendrick keeps evolving his sound. You know what I mean? He keeps evolving his sound.
So, and as I was saying, it's about like sometimes the fans and like really your perspective. I guess if there's enough people who say it, it just goes down like that. But for me, I look at Channel Orange as a sophomore slump. I didn't like that shit. It was too much different.
slump.
Hell yeah, different from what I like. I like
So this
that.
is
I
the
think a
thing.
lot of
Did
people change their
Did you do
perception.
that like in the moment that it dropped? You felt like? Did you ever go back and keep listening? That's the
Nah,
thing.
hell no.
See, that's the thing.
I
You
ain't
got to
go back
keep
and
giving
keep-
it a chance.
I'ma
It can't
keep
just
it.
be that initial judgment.
That shit was real. I like Channel Orange, but a lot of people criticized him when he came out about his sexuality at that time. Like when he came out about that shit changed the perception music wise for a lot of people.
So stupid. That was
But
so
it did though.
ignorant.
It did.
True,
No, but
true,
at
ignorant.
least still, like, maybe you already fell in love with the songs already, so maybe that did work for a lot of people, and maybe that affected their thoughts on Channel Orange. But like Nostalgia Ultra, that shit was fire. I'm
course
listening
it
to that
is.
shit. I'm
Nostalgia
like,
Ultra is
I
really
like
good.
these simplistic shit, and the even the content he was going in about, love it. Then this shit come out, I'm like, man, cut this.
You
BS
should give it
off.
another chance. I'm telling you, it's like psychological. Like as soon as it comes out, even Solange, she just dropped like When I Get Home. If you listen to it, your immediate thing is gonna be like, oh man, I don't like this as much as I like A Seat at the Table. But you gotta stop comparing them. Like you gotta give it time to breathe and realize that she's evolving, and you gotta evolve with her a bit.
Sometimes it's just hard to you know what it is? We like to accept you how we met you.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it's like we really like to dig in. Like for me, I'm not gonna lie. How many albums is Jeezy in? 10, 11? I don't think I don't want to hear him not talk about coke. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I always want to hear him, but as long as it changes as far as production sound. Not just period, man. I love to hear him talk that shit. But I think he had a turning point when he did Recession. Like, he had a turning point when he did Recession because he still was talking about drugs and selling drugs, but he was talking about the despair of what people go through that drives them to sell drugs. That kind of changed it. So I think, like, if you want to, when you're making these albums, you got to also change your narrative or where you're going. You're not going to be the same person you was last year. I'm not the same person I was last week in certain aspects. So I think like a lot of artists just be like, man, this is what I do, and I don't give a fuck who likes it or not, and that's where they get stuck.
It's true. All right, but fans, challenge yourself. Push through that first week of judgment,
We
comparing
don't
it
cut
to
the
the
Rolly
old.
last week, man. He ain't the same person.
Yo, he's just here to make. He's just trying to make jokes.
Hollywood now.
Stop
I'm
it,
playing, man.
man.
I'm playing.
Stop it.
Cool, yo, it's Thursday. We can't have no fun.
Of course
Stop
we
saying
can.
it's Thursday. All right, guys, it's Wednesday. I'm not gonna lie. That's what he's
What are you
doing. I
talking
can't do it. You're just
are you
trolling
doing,
me.
man?
Like, sorry, guys, it's Wednesday. We're doing a double episode because he's about to go to LA. Yeah, because like you're just trolling me right now. And I'm too tired. I'm like, like delirious right now.
You guys stop. We was
They
doing
watching
good,
this
man.
at work on Thursday. They don't care about what we're doing today. It's Thursday.
If you weren't trolling, you wouldn't keep saying it. Anyway, our next question is from like Barrington. Do you guys think it is harder for a rap artist to come out of a state or section we aren't used to, example, Arizona, Hawaii, Alaska, versus artists coming from areas we are familiar with, like Atlanta, Cali, and New York?
I don't think it's hard. And I have to go back to this old quote that says, it doesn't matter where you're from, it's where you're at, right? So when I think about that, there's talent everywhere. Like there's tons of talent everywhere, but I think the biggest problem with in Arizona is they don't have labels there. Somebody has to fly in. So you might have all the talent in the world, but unless you go viral or some shit, nobody knows. Where you could possibly invest in taking a trip somewhere, and that doesn't always work. But I think like you just gotta make sure that you shoot the right shots in order to be heard. But I don't think it really matters where you're from. It will definitely be harder depending on where you're coming from. But again, it's not where you're from, it's where you at. You gotta put yourself somewhere else sometimes.
I mean, shit. I remember I went to Atlanta for the first time
Couple months
year.
ago.
yeah, you know, zone 6 up, I ain't gonna lie. But I went there for the first time, and when I went there, I met a bunch of people at the airport. I was talking to them, and a lot of them were coming to Atlanta, and they kind of had all the same stories. They came from like East Bumblefuck, like pretty much nowhere USA, in many cases, and they were coming to Atlanta for opportunities. So again, maybe listen, becoming viral, that everybody knows you where you're at. Like there's few rappers that we know, like Ugly God's from Mississippi, even though still, you know, people associate him with Houston. But that's even a testament.
Why's that?
Just because of like some of the stuff, like in terms of his music, he has some stuff about like sauce and drip and all that type of stuff, and like his flow. And then there's somebody in Houston claiming that he was. So anyway, people thought he was from Houston, but he's from Mississippi. A lot of people don't know that. But when you think about a lot of people in elsewhere, like they gravitate or they go to the places where they feel like they could link up with the producers or get more opportunities. So, shit, man, if you in Hawaii, unless Kanye about to come over there to work on the album, man,
Actually,
take a trip
That could be
and
a
come
And even
through.
if he does, you ain't gonna be able to see that motherfucker. Like,
True.
You gonna run into him. But that's the thing. You definitely got to take a trip if you want to get out there. And I mean, I think with a lot of artists, it's always good to win home first. Like definitely do your best and do your due diligence
What if
to
you're
win
from
home.
Alaska though?
Yeah, I don't know what the hip hop scene. You know we're gonna have 1,000 tweets about Alaska hip hop now.
Yo, and
I want to know who's popping in Alaska.
Yeah.
word. And also, like, if all else fails, like, forget where you from. Just start claiming somewhere else new. Do
A
the
lot
Big
of niggas
Soldier
do that.
method.
Listen.
You feel me? If you want to be from Bompton, well, actually, I ain't gonna advise this.
Yeah.
But if
No,
you
but a
wanna
lot of
claim-
a lot of rappers just
people
start
do that, right?
A lot of rappers just start claiming somewhere out of nowhere and have no history there, and then it's like, yeah, you know, I've been here my whole life, and
Is
nobody
that really
cares.
okay though?
It's not okay, but people.
We're
it's,
not fact checking.
Yo, we in a fucking era where people accept anything. It doesn't even matter. Like people accept any fucking thing if you got a good enough song.
Better
So,
story over the truth. You're right. You're right.
It's unfortunate, but
And for some, you could be somewhat ambiguous. You get me? Like, you know, sometimes people who blow up regionally, like, there's certain artists from New York, but they rep New York so hard and their sound is so New York, you could tell they're New York, right? But then there's some artists that, like, you don't even know where they're from. Maybe they are from somewhere you know, but their sound is so ambiguous that you don't know. Like, even now, like, I know French is from New York, but a lot of times on records, like, he sounds, again, we're biased because we know he's from New York, but, like, it fits in with everybody.
Who,
You get
French,
me?
you
Yeah,
said?
like French Montana. Like,
But you know it changed his flow though, right? When he got shot, like he got shot in his head, and he started to slur his words a little bit after that. And then I think he did say that he went to Atlanta to try, cause he was working with Waka's mom, with Deb, and he did a whole tape with Flocka and all that shit. He did go down there cause he seen how the scene was kind of changing down there, and he jumped in early and got working with those producers. He changed his whole sound. But yeah, he switched it up completely.
another perfect example, Lil Uzi Vert. Lil
Right,
Uzi
yeah,
Vert sound
Philly, yeah,
was
went to the-
more like you know, Philly is home of the spitters. You know, like it was more a traditional type of rapping that you would expect from Philly, and then he goes down to Atlanta. This is the story I heard. Links up with QC and a couple other people, and he's influenced, and of course, just his natural growth. He comes up with this style that we're used to him with now. So, you know what I mean? I think sometimes if you want to, depending on what type of music you're making, you probably want your city behind you. Right. Other than that, you probably just need to get known somewhere. And like a lot of people don't know Richard Kid from New York. That nigga don't sound like from New York.
That's what people say. He's from Queens. I think he probably was born here. Like
Think about it.
no, but
That's
I'm
what
just
he
saying. All
said.
right, so look, Waka.
From Harlem, bro.
No, but that's just like. But see, Waka's mother's from Queens. You can see all his uncles. I just haven't seen nothing that corroborates the story of Rich the Kid
Does
being
he
from here.
claim to be from Queens?
I think that he says he like lived here when he was younger, but this is the thing. You can't say, all right, I lived there from when I was born till I was 7, and I grew up down here from 7 till I was 25, and I'm from there.
I was wondering about the rules. Like, how long do you have to be in the city to claim it?
Yo, Wayno ain't
I
that
mean-
nigga claim.
No, I'm not saying that. I'm just, no, I think you have to beat it. Like, you have to experience things. In order to say that you're from somewhere, you have
Junior
to
high
be
school
there.
and high school?
I say at least junior high school to high school and experience things there. Like for myself, I tell people all the time, I was born in the Bronx. I moved to Harlem when I was 12. And I lived in Harlem. Huh? Imposter, right? No, but I lived in Harlem till I was 12. I lived in Maryland for a year, and then we moved to Harlem in like 96. You know what I mean? But my family, my grandfather lived in Harlem. I spent time in Harlem when I was a kid, but I grew up from a kid to a teenager to a man in Harlem. I mean,
Say this clip, because when Wayno's one day receiving the key to Maryland, and I'm wondering, what the fuck? You feel me?
I would never get the key to Maryland.
And I'm wondering, why
That would
the
be nice
hell
though.
is
Nah,
like
I lived in shout out to Glen Burnie. I lived in Glen Burnie, Maryland. I went there I was there for my 7th grade year, like all the 7th grade.
Right.
But I would never be telling people, yo, I'm from Maryland, like I'm from B-More, I was out there. No, I lived there for fucking 1 year. That don't make me from there, like.
So maybe we're not really Jamaican and Grenadian.
But hold on, you know what though? No, I'm really Jamaican. I was reading. Listen, I will say though,
Right.
for certain artists, like I know when I cover hip hop, that's why I'm like for New York artists, you got to be hotter than normal for me to cover you, man. Like yo, you got everything here. When somebody like
it's hard,
Trippie
though,
Redd
man.
bubbles up from Canton, Ohio.
Right.
You know how, even though he did go to LA and link with people, but still, like, do you know how hard it is to bubble from Canton, Ohio? Salute to them. Don't take this as offensive. But when I see niggas in New York
No, Ohio, there's nothing
claiming
there,
they're
like-
not getting support, you got Double XL down there,
No, but it's
Complex
not- it
right
don't-
here, Hot 97 right there, million DJs.
It don't work like that, man. Because the problem, I say the biggest problem here is that they want you to do it on your own and get popping. Then they want to say that they fuck with you. They not like you could say that oh, everything is here, and you're right, everything is here. But you could be fucking buzzing, have a song and all that, and people would be like, nah, we're gonna wait. They're gonna wait till Drake say something or the Migos to say something. Or this is what I'm saying. Look at Jay Critch, right? Jay Critch, he was bubbling, he was doing this thing or whatever, but it took Rich the Kid, a nigga from, all right, he's
From
supposed
Queens.
Okay,
Queens
but
native.
look, Rich the Kid signed Jay Critch, and then in New York, they started fucking with him. They was not fucking with Jay Critch here.
Hey, and also, I will say this, like, there's another method, like, just embrace where you know how, like, Drake is my favorite. I gotta always say
Oh my God.
you know why I
We
say
know
that?
academic-
You know why I say
academic-
that?
Just say Drake. We know that he's your favorite.
You know why
my
I say
nigga.
that?
We-
Because like sometimes like people might hear like a biased opinion and be like, as biased. I let you know the bias off top.
We let you guys know. Drake, Cole, Meek. There it is.
We
There it
can
is.
push it. No. So, all right, so like with Drake, it took until like More Life for him to I think More Life for him to embrace like Toronto. This nigga sounded like he was from Houston, the West Coast, Chicago, Jamaica.
I
He
mean,
was all
but what
over the
does
place.
I mean? The thing is that I don't think we really know until Drake. See, the thing I know about Toronto is I know they say a boat instead of about. No, but we don't really know.
It's more like a boot.
A boot, right? They say a boot. Like Canadian people, we don't really have too many examples of Canadian artists that have made it mainstream. I say the only one that I did know prior to Drake is probably Cardinal Official.
Word.
That's the only one I knew, and I did.
But that's what I'm saying. So like when you're trying to get on, a lot of people abandon like their either different way of speaking, their just different lifestyle and different culture from wherever they're from locally, because they want to get on so bad, they adapt to what's already popping. So they start sounding like niggas from New York or niggas from like Atlanta or Houston. And that right there, like to be honest, it doesn't do where you're from any favor. I don't think Drake really did shit for Toronto music scene until he started embracing.
Until when?
I think it's like More Life. That's what
Come on, you
Stop it,
More
bro.
Life.
You
Bro,
think
he
so?
wasn't sounding like he was from Toronto all along. And
I still don't know
But
what a
just the
Toronto
fact that
nigga
him
sound like.
being that
for
big
real.
from
No, I
Toronto.
get a lot of culture from him now. I get a lot of culture. Like maybe you like. 'cause
I
most
know
of the
there's
shit be
mad
sounding-
West Indian people in Toronto.
Yo,
That's one
yeah,
thing.
sure.
It's mad Africans, mad Ethiopians,
So
and mad West
when you
Indian
hear him
people.
rapping about his Somalis and he's shouting out Finch and Jay and all that shit, like he's bringing people in that it might go over your head still because it's still dope. But
But
like
not if you're reading this, it's too late. You don't think that it was.
and Views as well. Like he start bringing like remember he said on Views, I finally did an album at home where I'm from, and he brought people in. But I really said that to piggyback and say. think about Florida. Florida's fire right now. Yo, you know, like, when I see an artist pop from Florida, I know where they from. I know Broward when I see him.
Yeah.
Like, there's so many different.
They can't really switch who they like. Kodak can't change his fucking the way he sounds. Like his accent. The thing is, all these other regions, well, not all of them, because I feel like just the South in general. The South in general, they can't really change how they speak, but because they grow up with these heavy accents. Dudes from New York, they say, all right, I'm gonna go get that type of beat. Even when people say cap, like I don't understand us using all of the South slang. Like all of the South slang. Look, no, for real, we use cap, we use drip, all that shit. That's not New York slang, but we know that it's kind of accepted in the music, so we throw it in there, right? Where fucking when they say our shit, they making fun of us. Like, remember when Blueface was here? He was like, it was mad cold B. Like, he would never say it's mad cold B in a fucking song.
Now, Tory Lanez talk like a New Yorker, though.
Tory Lanez talk like everybody.
All right, so boom.
Yeah, exactly. No, but what I was saying about Florida is that there's some people that realize that, yo, embracing where you're from makes that shit hot. Like, Florida is fire right now. Chicago was on fire. I mean, to a certain extent, it still is. But, like, it was people then looking in. Like, New York's always been that.
Ops. New York niggas don't say ops. Like, all right, go ahead.
Like, so Florida has it, Chicago has it. Of course, Atlanta been having it, and New York either had it or is having it again. But where you're from, sometimes you got to create that identity and show people the differences that people, like, the fans are just swagger jackets. They just want to be like you. So when you hear Kodak, you kind of want to be like Kodak, even if you're not from Florida.
I will say,
you got to own your individualness.
Yeah, absolutely. I will say, you know what? I think, well, who was making kind of a wave when it came to like the slang and all that? GS9. Like GS9 with the whole you know, like a lot of things that they were saying, like that was kind of making
updated New York. That's what
they was kind of making a little wave for how things were said. Because even with Boogie, like Boogie has great music, but we don't know like they slangs and shit or how they talk. Like it doesn't come across in the music the way you could say, all right, it's not only the music, but it's everything with them.
And well, to some extent, I didn't even know that that's what it is, and whether he took it from somebody else. But 6ix9ine a little bit, and then even 22 G's. Like when I listen to this shit, I'd be like, oh shit, that sounds like some updated New York slang.
Yeah,
like, and a bunch of artists do it now, but like, I mean, all I'm just saying, embrace where you from, because sometimes just like changing accents and face doesn't help your city.
Talking about embracing where you're from, a lot of our fans are also asking why we don't feature more UK artists, right? And then one of the questions that's been floating around in our like fan questions doc is like, do we think an artist can really blow up here in rap outside of like Canada at this point? Because like the UK guys are like making waves here, but it's just like they're still not blowing up to the level that I think some fans would expect. But like, could you be from, I don't even know what other countries to name, and like really blow up here and be a mainstream rapper?
I think
from Scotland. Do you have to change your accent? Like I just don't.
Nah, it's good. You know what it is? It depends. Yo, man, people, when it comes to that, like especially in America, people here are wave riders, right? And I think it depends on what the wave actually is. Now, if some shit comes from Scotland and niggas is jacking it, niggas ain't rocking kilts though, you know what I'm saying? But like if some shit comes from Scotland and niggas is jacking it, I think it could happen. I think that it takes one, all you need is one to have success. So like maybe we got Stefflon, right? We got Stefflon Don.
Stefflon Don.
Who else? We got Gigs.
We got Dave, Skepta.
There's a lot of them.
Like Skepta, yeah.
6, 7 boys.
They have success there. But
why aren't they megastars here yet? They have the talent.
There? Like, has somebody put them on their tour?
A lot of them have done shows.
I see Stormzy, he did like a good show here. I'm gonna tell you why it doesn't cross over. Unfortunately, the arrogant pricks that we are as Americans, like if you can't assimilate to us, we ain't fucking with you. And until somebody, in a rap sense of it, pulls a Idris Elba, where they're able to mimic or just like be ambiguous with that accent, we're not gonna give them a chance. The first thing off the rip when I see people listening to it, I said like a year and a half ago that I was hearing a lot more lyrical rap from rappers in the UK be at the forefront of their music than I was hearing from the US. And some people were like, yo, what are you talking about? But people weren't listening.
Right.
But you know what? You know why people don't listen? Soon as you hear that accent, we Americans, we tune it out.
But see, Idris Elba's a good point, but at the same time, you gotta remember, nobody knew this nigga was from England. Like he was on
That
The
was
Wire.
crazy shit. I watched the show front to back like 5 times and
nobody
had no
knew.
idea.
And then look, the first time people heard him
also
speak.
McNulty.
You know who's like that too? I mean, like it's a lot of people from UK, like Tom Holland. Fucking what else is my man name? Hugh Jackman. Like I didn't know Hugh Jackman was from over there.
So in movies it works, and in
movies
pop
it works,
it's like you can make pop music, and we can't always tell the accent when you're rapping is different.
If a UK rapper came over here and switched his whole shit, he would get flamed. UK people would flame him like that nigga's not himself. You don't think that would happen?
21 Savage. That's why.
Shut up.
No, yo, it could work. I'm telling you. People,
Yo,
that accent.
Why is 21 cool with this nigga? Like this nigga's
my
wrong,
guy,
man.
Because he's one of the realest out, that's why.
I'm gonna smoke that nigga.
We're about to play
Oh,
the video
man.
game today.
We are. That's my guy. He laughs
All
at the jokes.
That was funny. That was
All
really
right,
funny.
let's just do one more fan question then. So this one is from TFE CEO. Question is, why doesn't Gucci Mane and Lil Wayne get their due credit for really being ahead of their time with dropping full projects for free streaming before streaming? I feel like if they re-released their old projects now, they would perform better now than they did then.
Well, let's let everybody in on a little secret. They was never dropping nothing for free. Fuck out of here. All that why you think Dat Piff got so many ads? You think niggas wasn't cashing out on all them websites? Like people was been cashing out off of digital distribution before digital distribution became a mainstream thing to all of these companies. Before Spotify existed, you had a Dat Piff, or I think it was this other site I used to download shit from called Pure Dope. It was a bunch of different sites. But motherfuckers was cashing out fucking live mixtapes. You think that they was giving these shits out for free? No, they were not. Like
I found out the hard way. A mixtape site actually started beef with me because they paid an artist. They paid $30,000 or some amount like that. Well, first of all, they were beefing with Rich Homie Quan because they paid him, and he basically tweeted out a link of like a competing site with the shit. So I called on the game like, wait, y'all getting paid for this? Also, I remember, this is late in the game, Meek dropped 4 for 4.
Yeah.
And the whole mixtape site got beef with me because I said, yo, y'all can go check out Meek shit, but it was at a different site. And they were like, damn, you know he drops exclusively with us. And I'm like, I'm not getting paid.
it was the big problem.
I'm not getting paid
He's
to just
cashing
mention
out,
y'all. But again, people have been getting paid from this.
It's big
but
cash,
when I think about just mixtapes, you know, of course, Wayne did his thing. Gucci's been doing his thing. You could call those albums, really. But I always just look at, in terms of doing the legwork for mixtapes, I look at G on it, man.
Yeah. Well, I think another thing too is a lot of those songs and a lot of those tapes didn't always come from them. Like a lot of that Wayne shit was a lot of leaks. Like or people losing hard drives and shit, and engineers something saying, all right, I'm gonna take this shit to the website. I'm gonna all them. What was the shit with Wayne? The drought, all them droughts. Wayne wasn't dropping.
There was
all
a
them
group
shit.
called like the Cartel or something, and it was
the Cartel. Yeah, I remember the Cartel.
Like, I was like, yo, I was anticipating that thing, and like Wayne was sending it to them.
Okay, they niggas was finding them hard drives, man, or buying them shits off of people and putting all that stuff out. So I think like the reason why on a mainstream level a lot of that stuff hasn't been like championed is because Universal didn't get to put a lot of that shit out. They're not gonna be pushing a product or championing a product that they didn't have no parts in. But yeah, it's so many people that work with mixtapes. I mean, even the Diplomats. I remember the Diplomats, they had a crazy mixtape wave.
All right, that's it for our fan questions. We were gonna do one more topic, but I definitely don't think we have enough time. So we should just hang out for another minute. Just kick it. Guys, how are you doing? How are you doing at home, outside of work, you know?
You got something to tell us?
No, we're just chilling.
What's going on with you?
Just chilling. Now, we want to do this top 5, but we don't have enough time, and I don't want to half-ass it. We just wanted to pick, like, highlight 5 artists that, like, we're all feeling right now and, like, think are going to do great. But we'll save that one for Monday instead.
Right. I'm doing good, though. Can't complain.
Listen, man, this week I'm going to LA to fulfill some of my prophecies and some of my dreams, hopefully.
What kind of dreams do you have?
What prophecies do you have?
I'm telling y'all too much already.
This nigga said prophecy.
Y'all wasn't supposed to ask no questions. Y'all supposed to let that just slide.
You supposed to let this shit rock.
Y'all supposed to just let that slide, man. But honestly, I'm doing good.
That's dope. That's dope.
I'm glad to hear that you're doing well.
You look tired, girl.
I'm so delirious right now, y'all. I just have a long day. All right, anyway, guys, thank you for another great show. We appreciate all of you. Keep sending your fan questions at Everyday Struggle on Twitter, 2Gs.
2Gs.
Have a great weekend. We will see you here
Like
on
my man,
Monday.
22G.